Let's make these turquoise dangle earrings together, one bead at a time. We're going to start off with these flat oval turquoise beads that we got at Craft Warehouse. And I'll be starting by stringing each of the beads that I'll be using one at a time before we move forward. This project also uses some chip shape turquoise and some small round turquoise beads. And each of them are going on to these silver head pins with a little round end on them that keeps the beads from falling off of the head pin. Once we've got all of our beads strung, I'll grab my chain nose pliers and I'm going to make a 90-degree bend in each of the wires. This is the first step in forming a loop that we'll later use to attach our beads onto our chain and complete our earrings. But this way we get to use the chain nose pliers all at once here and get all of these 90-degree bends out of the way so that we can move on. And once we have all of those wires bent, we'll take our round nose pliers and we'll start making those loops in each of our head pins. Now, we learned how to do these loops in one of the previous technique videos that I posted in the loop, so I'll link that below just in case you haven't had a chance to see that, or you'll get a real close-up view of how to make these loops. But as you can see, forming loops with the round nose pliers when you're making jewelry is a pretty useful skill. You're going to be using this a lot going forward if you keep making jewelry, so it's definitely worth mastering. Alright, so once I've finished making all my loops, I take my chain that I had pre-cut and we'll be attaching our largest bead to the very end of that chain, as this is going to be the end of our dangle. And right as we attach it, we're going to go ahead and wire wrap to finish off that bead so that we don't have a bunch of wires hanging out as we're trying to attach all of our beads to our chain. And with our snips, we're going to take off that little tail, and that is the bottom of our earring. And we'll do this again on the other side. Again, this is our largest bead. It's going to be the bottom of our dangles. We're going to use our round nose pliers to grasp the loop and push our wire around, wrapping it around the head pin, using our snips to cut off the tail, and that's the bottom on the other earring. Now for the next part, I'm choosing which bead I want to be the next bead up, and I've also chosen to skip 2 links and attach my next bead into that 3rd link up for spacing. Now this is totally just a choice I made after I looked at how long the chain was, how many beads I had, and how I wanted it to be spaced out. But this, you could totally choose to put your beads all right next to each other in each link, so every link in the chain would have 1 bead, or you could space them out a lot differently, even further, so you could see more of the chain. It really depends on how you feel you want the end product to look. For now, I'm going to stick with my spacing and make it even all the way up the chain, and I'll just be attaching my beads and wire wrapping them and finishing them until we've got them all attached to the chain. Now, once I've got my beads all attached to my chain, I'm going to have to get out some jump rings so that we can attach the chain to the actual earring wires that I've set aside here. I've chosen some jump rings that are fairly small, but not the smallest I could have. You'll notice if you select really small jump rings, it can be very hard to attach or to grab the jump rings with your pliers once you've got everything on there. Small jump rings get really crowded very fast. So I've used my round nose pliers to just open up that jump ring and pop that earring wire right on there. And then we close it back up, and I've got what looks like a finished earring. Now we'll do the same on the other side really fast. And, you know, just getting that jump ring, popping on that earring wire, closing it up, and we'll take a look. And what I decided upon looking at these earrings was that I thought we could use one more bead at the top. So I've decided, you know, let's string up one more bead here. And you know, that's the beauty of learning how to make your own jewelry, is that you can look at a product and think, hey, I think I can make this better. Or I think, you know, maybe I should add a little something more to what I've already done. Well, now you've got the skills and the knowledge to do it. So what I decided here was I was just going to add another round bead to the top to kind of fit into that length of chain that doesn't have a bead there. And I got lucky in that there was just the right amount of chain there so that my spacing was actually still consistent at the top. So we've got our finished earrings here. We've got all of our beads strung up. I think I like that look a lot more. And we've put those earrings on a little earring holder. And that's it. We're finished. We've made a completed set of turquoise dangle earrings.